So Stephanie, your Christmas gift came early. Sure, we on this McDonald's gospel tour, but your gift dropped in October.
Yes, my album. Yes, Mighty Strong God. What a mighty Christmas gift that was.
Right,
Yes,
right.
sir. Produced by Pastor J.J. Harrison on RCA Inspiration record label, and I'm just really excited about it.
Did you ever think you would be in this position, not only dropping the album, but being on this McDonald's gospel tour?
No, sir, I never thought that I would ever have my dream to come true. But I do know that God's promises are God's promises, and He's going to come through and see you through those promises. So I'm excited. I'm still in awe of what is going on, and I definitely didn't think that I was going to be on the McDonald's. I watched every year of this show.
15, yes, that's 15 years.
15 years. I watched every year, just like I watched every season of the BET Sunday Best Show. And here I am being one of the people that are being featured, and God is amazing.
You talked about when there are promises, but the reality is when people are going through stuff, they don't see it.
Right.
When you think back to being homeless, what, as you were dealing with that, what was happening here?
What was going on in my mental, I definitely didn't see God's promises of, becoming a recording artist or any of that. What I saw was what I was facing. And it was sleeping on the floor, started in the car, having my children go through wanting to commit suicide and the depression of it all. I never gave up on God, though, because I knew that He was protecting me, even though I didn't see it. And that's why it says, what, faith comes by seeing, right? And so you have to imagine the big things that God has in store for you. And I struggled with that. I went to my pastor and said, can I sit down? I was the minister of music. Because what
So you were the minister of music while you were homeless?
Yes. Yes, sir. I sure was. And I sang, and when I stopped believing what I was singing, I asked if I could have a sit down because I needed to connect back with God. I didn't get angry with God, but I had unforgiveness in my heart. I was bitter. I had hate in my heart for what had took place. My father died. I had just had a major surgery of having cancer, and my dad died a week after I came home, and he had a great bill of health. So it was, and then I lost my home like 4 days later by loved ones, and that hate started, grabbing a hold, and for me to hate someone and then be singing about God making a way, it wasn't connecting for me. So I personally had to have a sit down, and it wasn't no sooner, probably a couple of 2 years later, that I came in contact with the late Reverend Bishop. He was Bishop Reverend Rance Allen, and he told me about my Job season. I was in a Job season, and even though they slay me, yet will I trust him. We forget that we have to pray for those who hurt us and despised us. And I couldn't pray blessings because me and my kids were homeless.
But how did y'all meet?
The Bishop, Rance Allen.
Yeah. How did you meet Rance Allen?
He came and did a revival, and they asked me to sing. And I shared a bit of my testimony, and I've always looked up to him. And I shared a bit of my testimony. I didn't go into a whole lot, but he said he saw the hurt. He could hear the hurt. But he also told me that once I forgive and start praying for these that have hurt me, God would open up doors. And probably 6 months later, God opened up the door for me to be on BET Sunday Best.
It's hard for a lot of people to hear that and go, yeah, but how could you not be mad? Right. How could you not be angry? And you said you were not mad at God, but you were mad at people.
Mm-hmm. I was mad at the ones that had hurt me, who, it wasn't God. But I also know that God came to me and told me that he took my father. He took all of this because I was so stuck on relying on my father for everything. You know, when I went through, I called on Daddy, and I didn't call on the daddy above. You know, my faith, I wasn't putting my faith in action. And the sad thing is, I sang for years and telling people how you can get through this and you can get through that. And as my life was going, I wasn't believing what I was singing, but just so used to being in the church and doing it, it became normal. You know what I'm saying? It was a learned thing, and God said, I need you to trust me. So he took my dad, and people don't understand that when I say that. He took my dad because I was dependent on my father so much, and he wanted me to put my faith in action. And once I put my faith in action, I forgave those people. I have no animosity towards anybody, even not just those people that put me out and my children out, but church and all that. I forgave all that, and I said, well, God, for you I live, and for God you I die, and I just want you to have your way in my life. And he started opening up doors, even in the midst. And just because he opened up these doors doesn't mean that I still don't go through stuff. And people have to understand that. You know, we still go through struggles, and it's just putting our faith in action.
This is the Inspiration Gospel Tour.
Yes.
And when you think about gospel music, when you think about people who have attended or watched this tour over the last 15 years, how does the music actually inspire?
I believe the music inspires the people because it gives them hope. Like we're doing the Christmas celebration, and it's giving people that may not have a family and the joy and feel the love. Here we're being able to express, you know, all this happiness that's going on, even in your hurt and even in your pain. And I know it's hard to do that. But I think that music, when you let it manifest in your spirit, whatever the song is, I think it just brings a whole much of love and light.
So when you said when you went to your pastor to reconnect, that was interesting about that is, did you step away? Did you say, you know what, I need to be refilled, I need to be revived? Because there are a lot of people who, people don't think about it that way, but the reality is there's church that people see on Sunday, then there's Monday through Saturday church. That's actually work. And folks get burned out, and they have to. There was a pastor in D.C. who said, "If I don't take the sabbatical, I probably will leave the ministry." He needed. He said, "I'm empty." He said, "I have nothing left." He said, "I need to step away from this. I've got to get refilled." A lot of folks don't think about that when you talk about those who work in ministry, who don't realize that they're carrying the burdens, and everyone is asking them, "Oh, please pray for me." But then it's like, yeah, but who's going to pray for us?
Yes, yes. I didn't leave the church. I just asked to sit down for a few months to reconnect and to allow God to minister to my heart. And to
so you stopped singing in church?
I stopped singing for a while. Yes.
So
sir.
And how many months was that?
Probably about 3 months
Which meant that when you were going to church, you were a parishioner. You were not a participant or a leader in ministry.
Right.
So you had to look at it from a different angle.
Right. And here's the thing. They didn't want me to sit down, but I had to do it for myself. You know what I'm saying?
So you set yourself down.
I set myself down. I went to my pastor. He's passed on. And I asked him, and I told him, I'm not feeling when I'm singing Waymaker and I'm sleeping on the floor. That ain't connecting with me. You know what I'm saying? When I'm going to the food banks, that's not connecting to me that he's a way maker and he's a miracle worker. Even though I know that he healed me from cancer, I'm still sleeping on this floor, and my kids are sleeping on the floor. That ain't connecting. And made a way. I'm not seeing that way, so I need to have a sit down. And he honored that, but the people didn't understand that. And I started looking at because who's praying for me? And I know I had a praying pastor, but the congregation, it was always gifts that
right.
we give. And I was empty. And I was bitter and I was hurt. And I just was, but I never said, God, I'm mad at you. Because it was working for my good. I just didn't see it. And here I am today. It worked for my good, you know.
And see, one of the things that I love it when I was talking to somebody years ago, and they were talking about Bishop Jakes in the Potter's house, and I said, well, are you going to acknowledge the Bishop Jakes prior to the Potter's house, when he was in West Virginia digging ditches, when his wife and they went on food stamps? Because I think, again, people will look at you and go, oh, look, I mean, the album drops and you're on this McDonald's tour, and then you win a BT Sunday Best. But I was reminding people, but you can't truly talk about somebody's story unless you tell the whole story. Unless you say, no, this is what they had to get through to be at this stage. You just didn't just pop onto this stage.
I didn't just pop onto this stage. I had to go through some stuff, and that's why I say God's promises, because back in 2006, someone prophesied to me that I would be standing in this space, and then it was confirmed with all them years later in 2019.
So 2006.
2006, somebody prophesied to me that I would be standing in this place.
And for 14 years, you like,
for 14
hello,
years. Yeah,
can you please? But see, I think that's where the patience comes in. June 2000, God had me write all this stuff down. I'm going to be doing this and this and this and this and this. So I'm like,
right,
let's go.
You're right.
And this is what he says. He says, no, you have to wait. I'm like, hold up.
Yeah.
He said, because I have to. He said, the people that are going to make these things happen are not yet in place.
Wow.
I have to move these folks to be in position, but you have to wait. And I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people, when something's been prophesied to them, and you have to wait for it.
And things had to line up, because it wasn't just this is going to happen. He told me that I had to change my lifestyle, because I was doing some stuff, right? And still in church. And I was singing in the clubs, and I was partying. My mother had died in 2004, and I began to do prescription drugs just to ease the pain. And when that wasn't enough, I started drinking to add on to it. But I would still sing, and nobody knew that I was hurting. My mom is gone and I'm hurting, but to minister to the people, you know what I'm saying, is what I was taught. You got to minister, you have a gift. And so when this man came in 2006 and shared all this stuff, you have to start lining up. Right? And it's not going to be an easy walk. And so I stand here today and I say, it's trust God's process. His timing is perfect. And so, yeah, them 14 years, 15 years, and I'm looking and I'm saying, now, God, you said, and I'm trying to get my life, in order for you to bless me,
right,
in order for you to show me that you are God. I knew that you were God because you had got me through so much, but yet and still, it's like the promises that and the confirmations that are coming, I ain't seeing this. So now I need you to show me. And it was like timing. And timing is perfect. And God's timing is perfect. And it puts your faith to work. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was doing, and it's still doing for me.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a matter of, you want it, but do you have the patience to wait for it, and to trust me in providing it? I think that's what also jumps out. You mentioned how many kids?
4.
When you talk to them now, when they are talking about this life now, what are you reminding them of before now?
I remind them of what we've been through and where we are today. And, they're old. They're all grown. I have one 17-year-old. This is her last year in high school. And because they've seen so much in the church, because that's where we grew up.
Right.
Things that I was taught, I'm going back and saying, forgive me, because that ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was something that they came up with, and so now they're getting on their path for Christ, because I can only do so much, but they're seeing that God's blessings, what he promised you, when you start lining up, they see that it's true and that they got to put their faith in action. They can't go on mine.
When you look at this lineup of this roster of artists, does it cause you to go, how am I sitting here?
It does.
Like, how am I mean, John Lawrence, and Yolanda Adams,
It
and
does.
Fortune, and Carr. Wait a minute, hold up. You trying to tell me my name is going to get mentioned in the
Yes,
same
sir.
reading as their names?
I just say that's God. Because when I looked at the lineup, I was like, what? My nerves got bad quick. But I grew up on the Donald Lawrence and the Yolanda Adams, and I love them. Carr, I love all of them. All of these and I think they're great talent. And we all have something different to bring to the table. And I listen to all their music, but I was just like, God, thank you. Thank you for this. You know what I'm saying? Because this is all you to put me before great men, because I think that these are great artists.
So when you say kids want a Happy Meal, you real happy, huh?
I am real happy. The kid in the candy store. I am celebrating Christmas early. God is just amazing.
Who would you love, whether they're gospel, whether they're not gospel? Who would you love to do something with?
It don't have to be gospel.
No.
Listen, let me tell y'all. Tank, I think his real name is Daryl.
Right.
Tank, I love him. And he's an R&B artist, but I love him. I would love to do something with him. It don't even have to be a gospel song.
Really?
Yeah, I just love him.
You ever met him?
I've never met him.
So what, you listen to his music and never met him?
I listened to his music and never
So
met him.
what is it about Tank?
Because I know that he came from the church, and it's just his voice, his vocal ability, and I have to admit, I love male singers, but it's just something about him. He seems really nice. He seems really cool in his music because of the type of music that he did back in the day growing up.
Right.
It was that real R&B, you know what I'm saying? That, it wasn't all about sex and stuff and things like that, but even what he does now, I just love. His voice is amazing. I'm sorry. I love him.
Well, let's see. Let's see if Tank answers the phone.
Don't do that.
Let's see if Tank answers the phone.
Oh my gosh,
Let's
do not have me cutting up here.
Let's see what happens here. I don't know if he has an Apple phone or if he has if he has a Samsung.
That what do they call the Android?
Yeah. So let's see.
Oh my gosh.
He may answer. If he don't, we're gonna leave a voicemail.
Okay.
We're gonna leave a voicemail. Look at you, what?
Rolling by. Sorry. Like.
No, I'm calling him.
Oh my God.
Okay, hold on. Let's see here. All right, we're gonna do this here. We're gonna see if he answers this here. Sophie.
Hello?
Tank.
Yep.
Roland Martin.
What up, Doc?
I'm sitting here I was just FaceTiming you. I'm sitting here doing an interview in Houston for this McDonald's gospel tour. And there's a sister on here. She won BET's Sunday Best. She was homeless. She went through all kind of drama. Dropped a new album last month. So I'm interviewing her, and I said, her name is Stephanie Summers. And so I said, name your artist, gospel artist, non-gospel, who you would love to do something with. She started having heart palpitations, and she said, Tank. And I said, well, have you ever met Tank? And she says, I ain't never met Tank. I don't know Tank. All I know is she was just going on and on and on.
Oh
and I said, well, you know what? We're going to call Tank. And she thought I was lying. So I'm gonna pass her the phone so she can just say, hey, Stephanie, that's Tank.
Hi, Tank.
How you doing, Stephanie?
Oh my
Congratulations
gosh.
to you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love you so much. I love you.
I love you too then, shoot.
Yeah. I told Roland, I love your music. I follow you. I listen to your music. You in my playlist, sir. And I love the Lord.
Well, let's figure out how to get something done.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, we make that happen, man. It's easy. We gotta stick together.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes. And I said, and it don't have to be gospel. I'm
Well,
just.
you know what? It's like, I was raised off on commission, and
I know.
and so I've always been progressive in terms of my my conversation. You know what I mean, when it comes to the spiritual part of it all. So
Yes, sir.
I think there's a way to communicate that, man. There's formulas from our OGs, BB and CC, and
Yes.
of course, like I said, commission, and from Fred, and
Yes.
and of course from Kirk. Like there's formulas. You know what I'm saying? That
Yes,
we can tap
sir.
into, and it can be really dope. So I'm with you. I'm
Oh,
rock with you.
thank you so much. I love you so much. Oh my gosh.
Make sure Roland give you my information.
I will.
You got it on speaker?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Take my information. Text me. Let's figure it out.
Thank you so much, Tank.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Tank. Take care.
Brother, appreciate you, man.
Not a problem, bro. Not a problem.
Oh my gosh.
All right, peace out.
Y'all, listen, I'm almost 50 years old, acting like a little kid. This is okay. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I did that with you too. So
You did what?
all this that I'm doing right now. When they said I was interviewing with you, I went into like complete kid mode. Okay,
Well,
I was trying to be professional.
I'm gonna hook you up and
Oh
give you
my
Tank's
gosh.
number.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. I done cried already, so I can't. I gotta go rehearse with my makeup on.
It's all good. It's good to meet
It
you.
was nice to meet you too. Thank you so much.
Let me know when y'all do something.
I will.
All right,
Yes,
then.
sir.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks a bunch.
I appreciate you. Thank you. We good? Okay.